Greetings. My name is Jess Haynes, and I am a doctoral student at Aspen University. This following video is going to address the question about how leadership skills impact project management. There's going to be three primary points that I'm going to talk about during this brief presentation. The first is that leadership is about who you are. The hard project management times, the times when project management is not going as you expect it to be, or where there's pressures, difficulties, or concerns, it's going to bring out who you really are inside. So project management and the leadership skills required in it aren't just about what you know and what you do, they're about who you are. The second point is that leadership in regards to project management is about holding difficult elements at the same time. It's about finding ways to balance both risk and stability to hold the project at a place of firmness while also driving it forward. The third and final point that we're going to look at today is communication. Communication creates reality, and communication creates reality in all elements of your project. And if you have a leader, or if you are a leader that is not excelling in communication, you're not going to excel in project management. To begin, we're going to consider some quotes from an author whose name is spelled Iordanoglou, with a citation date of 2018. When this author talks about leadership, they talk about how leadership is what you do. They talk about leadership is how you live. It's not about what you say. We can say whatever we want. We can write pamphlets, we can create videos, we can give presentations to our companies. But what our companies really care about, what our stakeholders really care about, is how we live. How does this live out? When we are presenting a product that didn't come out the way that it was originally planned, how do we handle that? What is our response? And these are the things that define our character. This author talks about how when they interviewed a bunch of United States and European leadership experts, they agreed that the primary skills that were necessary for leaders were trustworthiness, collaboration, and teamwork. And they determined, their opinion was that these skills were the ones that were the most critical for future leaders. That it boiled down to people did need technical skills, but there's a lot of ways that technology can replace technical skills, that new information can be gained by our incredible access to the internet. But who the people were, how they engaged with their team members, how they engaged with their stakeholders, how they showed up in the everyday portions of their lives, determined what type of leaders they were. And what type of leaders they were determined the success of their projects. A quote from the same author is, "Leadership is a balancing act between attaining the needs of different stakeholders." And this again attests to what the leader actually is internally, because the needs of the different stakeholders could be vastly different. And as the leader is evaluating these different needs and is considering how to meet them, a lot of this is going to come down to their character. Are they shady and trying to pretend that they can meet the needs of a stakeholder when they can't? If something goes wrong, are they notifying the stakeholder in a way that is both advantageous and beneficial? Are they trying to hide things, or are they going to the stakeholder for every little thing when the stakeholder doesn't want to know or doesn't need to know, and perhaps it is not advantageous for them? So this points back again to the character of the leader, and can the leader know who their audience is, know who their stakeholders are, and make sure that what is in them, the best of what is in them, is showing up in such a way that it supports what the stakeholders need. The next point that we're going to consider is sorry, my computer's having a glitch here for a second. Is the need for flexibility. And this, the author that I'm going to mention in regards to this is Benci, Belisari, and Appoliani, and their citation date is from 2019. And they address that in the need for modern project management, that we need to be able to hold both the past and the present at the same time. We need to be able to hold a firmness to the details that give our project structure, give them stability, but we also need to be able to reach toward new things. We need to be able to take risk. And the term they use for this is ambidexterity. Apparently that's hard for me to say. Ambidexterity. This idea of ambidexterity is exactly that, holding two things that might appear opposite at the same time. Holding both stability and risk at the same time, holding both the past and the future at the same time. And a healthy leader will have this skill. They will know when to press into the fine details of a project or when to reach forward toward the big picture because it really matters. And they will be able to navigate this back and forth motion. And it will allow them to have projects that are more stable than a lot of their competitors, while also able to take risks that maybe their competitors aren't able to take, and thus be more appealing to certain stakeholders. The final element that we're going to consider today is communication. The author Hedman, 2016 citation, mentions in regards to communication that communication defines reality, that language defines reality. And when we're speaking about communication, communication is pertinent at all levels. How do you communicate with your team members? How do you communicate with your fellow leaders? How do you communicate with your stakeholders? How do you communicate in advertisement? All the way through the process, how do you communicate? Not only what do you communicate, though what you communicate is vitally important, but how? Do you communicate in a way that is respectful? Do you communicate in a way that shows an awareness of what the needs of your people are and how you're going to help them reach it? Do you communicate in a way that is valuable to them? Do you know them well enough that you can communicate in ways that you know meets their needs? Are you willing to change and shift your communication if they need it? This is a skill that should always be growing. We should always be improving our communication skills. We should always be finding ways to fine-tune, to press into greater excellence in this, and always be flexible. There might be one team that needs us to communicate in a way that's vastly different than another team. And our willingness to do this will define us as a leader and define our success as a project manager. In conclusion, as leaders who are managing projects, we have the opportunity to be the type of people who stakeholders want to entrust their interests to. We have the opportunity to be the type of leaders who team members want to strive with, want to succeed with. We get to be the type of leaders who our fellow leaders want to grow alongside, who see us and want to partner with us and move through their career journey with us. Through building the ability to care, through having integrity, through creating stability and also taking risks, while creating the reality and details of all of the project through our communication, we will be the type of leaders who are impactful. We will be the type of leaders who are successful. We will be the type of leaders who are successful project managers who create projects that are successful. The type of leaders who are sought after. The type of leaders who are sought after. And that's what we want to be. We want to be those that others can look from the outside and go, they're doing well. They're doing their job well. We want to be the type of leaders who those inside look and say, I want to stay with this company. Or those on the outside go, I want to be part of that team. I wonder how I get to be in that team. We don't want to be just excellent in our own eyes, but we also want to create a culture where others can see the excellence and want to be part of it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me today. And I look forward to connecting with you folks in the time to come. Bye.